if Australian government, if Australian opposition wants really good for refugees, we'll be increasing our numbers of UNHCR.
I thought the reason why they can get away with demonising people who arrive in boats is a question of colour and a question of race. No one is particularly concerned about backpackers from Ireland. I'm Irish descent. No one's concerned about my family coming over here on planes, overstaying and doing their thing. No one gives a stuff. Why is that? And well, look, I'm answering the question, aren't I, really? It's a question of racism. Racism is a plague in this society. It has been since Europeans first arrived, and it's a particular problem for the Labor movement. It's in our interests as trade unionists to stand against any ideas which actually say that people are different on the basis of colour, because that's the way they can divide us against each other at the point of production. That's the way they can turn us against our brothers and our sisters on something as spurious as the question of skin colour or religion. There are real divisions in this world between those who have and those who don't, and anything which blurs those lines weakens us as a movement. And that's really why I'm here today, and why I'm proud to be here today and stand shoulder to shoulder with all of you who actually clearly understand that and are clearly going to fight to do something about it.
The Convention enshrines the rights of refugees, the right to non-refoulement, the right to not be returned to the country where a refugee faces threats to their life or freedom, the right to not be punished for the mode of entry into a new country, the right to housing, the right to education.
No way, let them lie, let them say, PNG, no way, let them lie, let them say, PNG, no way, let them lie, let them say, PNG, no way, let them lie, let them say, no way, let them say, free refugees, free refugees.
I think one of the newest and most sickening really justifications for this is all of the talk about deaths at sea. Now, those of us who've been involved in the refugee movement for several years, well, we find it a little bit dishonest when you hear politicians talk about being concerned about the welfare of asylum seekers when we have met, you know, tens, hundreds of asylum seekers whose lives have been destroyed by the mandatory detention regime, who've met scores of people who've attempted to take their lives inside those detention centres, and who've known people who have done that and have seen this government preside since 2007 over that mandatory detention regime. To turn around and say that they're concerned about the welfare and the safety of asylum seekers is an insult.
Ladies and gentlemen, is that we often forget about the companies that are profiting from this industry. Since the 1990s, the Howard government, then the Gillard government, the Rudd government, now Rudd again, have outsourced our refugee policy to countless companies, you may have heard of them, Serco, G4S and others, who are making hundreds of millions of dollars from our local and regional imperialism. For those who don't know, Serco, which is a British multinational, currently has contracts worth over $1.86 billion for detention centres on the mainland and Christmas Island. Companies are also running Manus Island in Papua New Guinea. And when the Howard, Rudd governments, Gillard governments and Abbott potential government talk about offshore processing, what they're saying is privatised offshore processing.